My name is Wayne Thalasinos, TMCMSS, Torpedoman Master Chief. When I first became involved in the service, I was from a family of 10 kids. I had a brother in the Navy, brother in the Army, brother in the Marines, sister in the Waves, sister in the Wax during World War II. After that, I had a brother in the Navy on submarines. And I went down to visit him on the USS Hardhead. And the guys were sitting around with Levi's playing guitars, and I thought, this is kind of my life. So I followed his footsteps and joined the Navy in 1956. Well, I was coming out of the state of New Hampshire, so it was a big ordeal just taking the bus from a small town in New Hampshire into Hartford, Connecticut, and then on to Bainbridge, Maryland. I was very scared, obviously, and thinking about all the bad, scary things. But then when I got there, I liked when they started organizing you and they tear you down to nothing and then build you back up. And I liked that. Everything was organized, everything was folded right, and I'm an organized person. I didn't realize it at the time. But I enjoyed boot camp and marching and everything they put you through. I found invigorating, and I thought, oh, this is my kind of Navy. And put in for sub school, was lucky enough to get sub school. Well, I had a benefit that a lot of the other young sailors didn't, because I had a brother on submarines, and so I got a lot of information from him. But then when we got to sub school, still, they did a lot of, at that era, they did a lot of normal boot camp training. You still marched to eat lunch or whatever meal you were going for, and you still had a lot of military training. But again, I fell into that quite easily, and I liked it. And enjoyed sub school, enjoyed New London, Connecticut, and like I say, I stayed there. And sub school, that was one thing, now that you bring up diving tank, that was one thing I was a little leery of because I was a non-swimmer. And I had gotten through good enough to stay in the Navy. But then during the first time it was my turn to go through the escape training tank, sadly enough there was a casualty, and the gentleman had popped up too fast and perished in the event. So they were closing it down, and they were hollering, Mayday, Mayday, Mayday. And I was thinking, oh, payday, they're going to pay the guys that work at the tank. But it turned out quite opposite. So then they closed it down completely for a couple of years. So I was on submarines without ever having that training, but then that always stuck in your mind. So when you had the training, you were thinking of that as well. But it all worked out very good. And then you got to graduate from sub school once you had done that, and then serve on submarines.